Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the 3 Gun Show, episode 158. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and this week my guest is Nick Atkinson. And we do a little bit of a follow-up to the episode we did back in June, and you can find that at 3gunshow.com. And this one is a Q&A with questions from the 3 Gun Talk group in Facebook. So before we get started here, I want to say thank you to all the contributors that have supported the show on Patreon. Thank you so much. Your support is keeping this thing going, and I'm very grateful for it. There's some cool stuff coming up in the next few months here that I'm only able to do because of your support as a patron. So if you're interested in becoming part of the Patreon group, we've got a cool little community going over in the Facebook group. You'll also get access to like match recon episodes and things like that at various levels. And you can think of it as crowdsourcing to support a creator. And I'm the creator, so I'm creating the 3 Gun Show here and trying to do much more with it other than this weekly podcast, and your support helps me do that. So thank you very much for being a part of it. If you're not, go check it out at patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. Now, like I said, this is a follow-up to an episode that Nick and I did back in June, and we actually recorded them back-to-back, but I gave you a couple weeks buffer here so we could get some other good content out. So I asked for questions from the 3 Gun Talk Facebook group, and this is what y'all came up with, and Nick answers them here, and some of them are fun, some of them are funny, and some of them are pretty technical, so you're going to learn something here as well. Now, a quick note about the 3 Gun Talk group on Facebook. I've long been a supporter of this group here. I like to use it to ask questions and everything because Kevin Travis, the owner, and the two moderators, Jerron and Dan, do a really good job of weeding out trolls and a-holes, right? And as we know, the internet is full of both of those things. So we don't need that in 3 Gun, and they do a good job of keeping the forum really cool. So recently, Kevin came to me and said, "Hey, Dave, would you want the 3 Gun Talk group?" And I said, yes, absolutely I would. So we just transferred ownership this week. And if you want to be a part of this group, and you're not an a-hole, and you're not a troll, check it out. It's in the show notes of this episode, 3gunshow.com/episode 158. But you can also just go to Facebook and search 3 Gun Talk. Bring your awesomeness, bring all your good vibes and everything. And we will continue to make this a great community that Kevin, Dan, and Jerron have done so far. And it's going to be fun. So check it out there. Again, show notes for this one, 3gunshow.com/episode 158. And enjoy this one with Nick Atkinson. Nick.
Dave.
Welcome to the 3 Gun Show Q&A, baby. Are you pumped?
Am I supposed to be honest right here? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So I did this little Q&A thing with Rick Birdsall, and he was a little nervous because I think Rick is ornery, throws a lot of stuff out there, and he was expecting a lot of it to come back. But we're looking at the questions here that you got when I threw this out to the Facebook community. What questions do you have for Nick? We're going live, and we're going to do your Q&A afterwards. So it's been 90 minutes, and we have some questions, and these are actually some good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What would you expect as how many questions do you expect to get in 90 minutes?
Well, I don't know. People were at work when we started, so I think that's about right.
You think so?
It's kind of a slow time for Facebook. It's 6 p.m.
That's true. It is a bad time for Facebook.
Central. It's usually later when it gets hot.
Yeah. Either that or nobody cares.
That too. All right, man. Well, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We're going to start with Jared Bender. And Jared says, how many snowflakes does he melt daily with Beastmaster hunting?
I'm not sure. It's based on a daily thing. I think it's more of like a cumulative over. You can't quantify it. You know?
Right.
It's like one day we post a bobcat picture and it's just like it's like the snowflakes enter hell, and just everything is obliterated, and then the next day they somehow come back. I don't know, but I think it depends on our Facebook posts and our social media activity that day. But it's definitely in the millions.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
So to that, Ryan Dixon comments, Squirrel Wars should be a TV show.
Man, if you could find me somebody that would pick it up, I'd be all about it. I would travel all over the country shooting squirrels.
Dude, we got him in the backyard. My dog, he would love that with you because he wants to go play with those squirrels, but they never want to play with him.
No, they don't. They play a lot better with dogs when they're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Parker would love that. We'd get Cole to stuff some.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, that would be awesome. Squirrel Wars should be a TV show, and it could just be called Squirrel Wars.
We got to give Ryan Dixon a producer credit.
The way hunting shows work, though, is you have to go to those networks that have hunting shows with all of your own sponsors.
Yeah, it's like 3 Gun Nation.
Yeah, except for like hunting.
Right.
But yeah.
But I mean, that's what that was their model, right?
Well, I mean, that's the network model.
Right.
So you got to go to Toyota and be like, hey, you want to sponsor the show? You get a commercial.
Right.
Or
and
10
meanwhile,
or
Sportsman
whatever.
Channel is going to Toyota and saying, hey, you want to sponsor this? And we'll give you better placement. We'll give you more views and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a racket.
Oh, well.
Nick, Ryan Dixon writes, do you think you are at a disadvantage being one of the few people still shooting a Glock at the top level of the sport?
I don't think so, because if I had thought that, then I wouldn't be shooting a Glock. It's we've talked about this on podcasts before with you. Mm-hmm. I think there's more advantages than there are disadvantages. So, no.
All right. Andrew Stanfield says, why don't you post more on IG? Rick Birdsall is beating your ass at that. Even Keith Garcia does sometimes.
So check out the Beastmaster Instagram. It's Beastmaster Hunting on Instagram. I post almost every day. Probably every other day. Mm-hmm. It probably averages to every day because some days I go crazy and post like 4 things. But
that doesn't help you, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's just the way things are, Dave.
I can show you a program that'll help you with that.
I've got one.
Do you?
Yep. I just sometimes, I don't know.
We've talked about this.
Sometimes it just strikes me, so I just post.
I got you.
But anyway, yeah. So because we just started Beastmaster, a lot of focus has been put on that.
I'm putting that in that area. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Chance Lenzillo says, why does he like coaching so much?
Why do I like coaching? I don't like coaching.
You don't like coaching?
You're talking about coaching at a match?
I don't know. You know as much as I do.
That might be a sarcastic question.
Yeah,
I don't
it could
know.
be.
Because I have publicly stated that I disagree with matches that allow coaching.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, whenever that argument
run with that then.
Well, whenever that argument's been on Facebook, because it came up about that match up north. I don't remember the Shooter Source match,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's coaching allowed by pretty much everybody or whoever you wanted to designate, and I just disagree with a competition where there is money on the line for some people, or significant prizes for some people. That if you beat someone else, it is not based on your skill. It could potentially be based or is heavily influenced by how good your coach is. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, if where do you usually finish in a match?
Me?
Yeah.
Geez. This year hasn't been so great, actually.
Well, just give me an average.
It's usually probably like 50 to 60% this year.
Okay, so if there's 100 people, you're 50th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you took me to a match and I coached you, you think you'd do better?
Yeah.
Okay. So
especially on the long range portion, if you're shouting out distances and I don't have to remember all that.
Okay, if you took Wade to a match and he coached you,
oh yeah,
would you beat me and you?
No.
Exactly.
Sorry, Wade.
So, well, I mean, it's just an example. You know, you're going to take it does add a different element to the game. Mm-hmm. I think if there's going to be coaching allowed, either it needs to be a separate division. Okay, coaching allowed in this division. This division is the people who really want to see if they're better than everybody else. True competition. Right. Or it needs to be a team match, and your team is allowed to coach. Mm-hmm. You know. And that argument was raging. I think there was like 600 comments on.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah, no.
How did I miss that one?
I don't know.
Jesus.
But yeah, no. I just threw it out there and I very rarely comment on stuff, big posts like that especially, but I just threw it out there that I disagree with it, and that's why I'm not going. So,
Interesting.
Yep.
I was wondering why you weren't at that one, because it is in Texas.
Well, I mean, and here's other people's argument is the guys who are going to win don't need it.
Right.
Okay. I can think of 3 matches in particular that I finished less than 1 second or 1 point out of first. Okay. So I'm either second or third, depending on if somebody else squeezed in there, where if someone had been following me and just hollered out something that
like when you ran past targets at the 2016 Three-Gun Nation Southwest Regional.
There you go. And I was about to throw up before that stage. I just felt terrible, so my brain wasn't working right.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody had just said, hey, there's more targets, don't dump your rifle.
Yeah.
I'd have finished first by a long shot. Like a lot.
It's true.
Like 30 seconds.
That's very true, because
Okay.
that was a very costly go back.
Exactly. And I only lost by like 2.5 seconds. But or there was a stage, Generation 3 gun. I finished second last year at Generation 3 gun, where there was a target behind a tree, and it was kind of like a gotcha target, that I walked that stage 6 times, never
Is that
knew
a
that
pistol target?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never knew that target was there. Never knew it was there. So, and it's not anybody else's fault. It's my fault. But there was also 4 other people in our squad that never knew it was there. And the only reason I didn't get it is because I was second, on that stage. The guy ahead of me didn't make it that far. Okay?
Oh.
So I didn't get to see him go down there. And then I was up, and the RO's like, oh, you left that target. And I was like, what target? He's like, take 10 steps forward, because I shot everything from way further back, And I was like, huh. Well, nobody missed that target after that.
Yeah, no kidding. Was that stage 2?
Yeah, I think so. In the woods. Yeah. Shotgun pistol. Mm-hmm. And I crushed that stage. I ran like 26 seconds or something.
Well, you get that one target.
No, my raw time was 26 seconds, Dave. So if someone had just said, hey, there's another target you forgot, and so the argument of the guys who are going to win don't need it is invalid, because there's always some mistake that you make that could make you go faster, and then they say, well, the other guy who beat you is still going to beat you, because then they're going to get them. Not necessarily true, because it depends on how many mistakes you made versus how many mistakes they made. That could be corrected by someone just falling behind and coaching, air quotes.
I gotcha.
Do you, Dave?
I do. Compelling argument you make there.
Well, I mean, I don't really have to make a compelling argument. I'm just not going to go, So I don't.
Oh, no. I'm just.
I'm giving you both sides and telling you why I'm right. You should make a button out of that. Just play it sometimes.
That'll be, oh yeah, no shit. God. That's a good Nick Atkinson quote. Why did he cut his Doc Holliday mustache, ? This is Brandon Wallen, by the way.
I wanted to eat ice cream.
Number 2 from Brandon Wallen. He's one of the fastest, parentheses, accurate trigger pullers out there. I'd like to know what he is seeing while that is happening, and how his vision skills progressed to where they are now. So
Jerry talks about this a lot. Mm-hmm. If you've ever talked to Jerry about shooting fast, he says you can only shoot as fast as you can see, right? And I agree 100% with that, right? A lot of it is, it's almost rhythmic, like if you've got a target array and you shoot some choppy rhythm, then that's, in my opinion, going to mess you up more than really aiming. Okay, I'm talking about like seeing a good sight picture, pulling the trigger one time, right? Because if you have a good rhythm and you practice that good rhythm, then it's muscle memory. And people argue one way or the other against muscle memory, but it's a real thing, because I know when I draw my gun out of a holster and I point it, I know within probably 4 inches at 10 yards where it's pointed. That's muscle memory, right? So once you get that muscle memory down, if you know where in your good shooting stance and your good grip, you know where that gun is pointed, then it all just becomes seeing the targets, right? And it's a good question, because he's asking where you're looking. I'm typically looking, let me think about this for a second and envision it.
For those of you listening at home, Nick has his arms outstretched and he's dry firing on the wall.
Typically, I'm looking at the target until I see the sights, like the rear and the front sight both covering the target, no matter what size it is, somewhere around the target. And then I rely a lot on muscle memory, really, to line up those sights, right? As I'm breaking that shot, my eyes are transitioning to the next target. And as I'm breaking my second shot, my gun is transitioning to the next target, if we're talking about paper targets, right? If we're talking about steel targets, it's pretty much one shot per target unless you got a bunch of makeups. And the hardest thing to make yourself do on steel targets is be transitioning as you're breaking that first shot and allow the recoil to transition your gun for you. Does that make sense? So that if you shoot, when you break that shot, as the gun comes up, it's coming back down on the next target.
Right.
Because in your brain, you want to make sure that that target's a hit before you go to the next one, right? Well, if it's a close target array, you're wasting like a quarter second every target by doing that, by confirming that it's a hit, okay? So a lot of people get hung up on like plate racks at whatever. What's a tough plate rack distance? 18 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, that's easily doable, but it can hang you up.
And the part that I don't understand is like all of a sudden it's a rack and now it's more difficult than if it were just a, target sitting on a...
Well, no, I don't think that's it, but I'm talking about trying to go fast across this rack.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've figured out the speed that I can go just ding, 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 6 across, right? And confirming that I'm hitting everything versus using that muscle memory, seeing that pistol come up and transition to the next target as it's coming down and actually have a couple of makeups, and it's way faster than confirming those shots, even with 8 or 9 shots versus 6, because I'm not losing that confirmation time, and that muscle memory is helping me hit targets anyway. So what I've figured out is that I can really push on the gas, and even if I have 3 or 4 or 5 makeups even, I'm still right there in contention for the fastest time on that stage. But if I hook up, I'm gone. Nobody's catching me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you got to figure out what that happy medium is as far as rhythm goes and as far as transitions go, but not waiting for that confirmation and really just transition to the next target with your eyes first, then your gun, as it's coming down and recoil, breaking the next shot.
Huh.
I mean, think about it.
No,
ding, 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 ding versus ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 pow, 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 ding, ding, ding. You just look at the overall time, and the 3 makeups were so fast. And and that goes back. And it's almost a Jerry theory too, accuracy by volume.
Right.
But when you do it enough, and you only have that 1 makeup or no makeups, man, you crush people.
How often do you practice these days?
What do you mean these days? Define these days. Like
now, like I'm sure your practice volume has gone up, gone down over your 3-gun shooting career, your timeline.
But you say now. Do you mean like the last 2 years, or do you mean like the last 2 weeks, or?
Oh, okay. Let's say from January 1st, 2017 to June 5th, 2017.
So I'm probably not practicing as much as I did at this time last year.
Right.
Because a lot of focus has been on Beastmaster and prototyping weapons and going and getting content and editing that content and making contacts throughout the day. And, there's a lot of things that I like to practice in the middle of the day. You went with me to the range. I like to go out to the range at like 1 o'clock. And there's a lot of business that transacts between 1 and 5 p.m. So it's like if I can't get to the range during that time frame, I'm probably just not going to go.
Okay.
So probably a little bit less. But I've still shot the same number of matches. I think I'm at 6 matches for the year. And I haven't shot anything in June. I think I was done with matches at like the beginning of May. So I shot the same, if not more, matches this year than last year. So
what's your next match?
It's in August, Pro-Am, I think.
You take July off, right?
June, July, and most of August.
You do?
Because it's so hot. You gotta have fun, and I don't have fun if it's miserable,
I don't have fun when it's raining.
Better find a new sport, buddy. or pull a Tischhauser. Yeah, that's right. Calling Jesse out.
Hey, man.
Sign up for all the matches and then don't go if the forecast is bad.
I won my division because of that.
Division of 1.
Hey, dude, there's another guy there.
Oh, okay. Well, then you did win. Good job, Dave.
All right, so Michael Ford says, should be an awesome interview, ! I want to know how to get his mythical power of long-range offhand shooting, 3 exclamation points.
Practice? I don't know. It depends on long range. I mean, you really need a definition of long range offhand shooting. Is it like go out and do a one-off 700-yard shot just because it's funny and it gets a lot of shares on social
that's
media?
What he's referring to.
Or
did you actually do that? Or you faked that, right?
No.
Really?
That was first take. That's what's crazy.
Well, that's what you said, but
that's what was. That's
I
what
figured like on the 7th take you shout first take.
No, that's what, and some people do that. Some people do that.
Dude, perfect, right?
But that's what made it. That's what made it funny. And that's why I kind of started laughing because I had like a box of ammo sitting behind me,
right?
And I was like, we're probably gonna have to like shoot this some and let the gun cool down and then shoot some more. And it's bang, first take. And I'll tell you what's really funny. And this is how you know I'm not lying. Okay. I have all the dope written down for that gun.
Uh-huh.
And that was a 600-yard target, not 700. My bad.
And what kind of gun is it?
That is a gun that Kyle Simek at Guns Plus built, and it's a 260.
Okay.
With
260 Remington.
Yep.
With proof barrel.
Proof
is it
barrel,
a bolt gun?
Timmy trigger. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a one-hole gun at 100. So I mean, it's dead on. And I've got all my dope anyway on the scope and everything. And I was messing with the magnification on the scope to see what I liked standing there. Obviously, if we're shooting on a bench, I'm just going to dial it all the way up. Dial the dope that I need and shoot it. And that's easy because you're on a tripod and sandbag or a bipod and sandbags. So I'm like messing with dialing the dope and dialing it back and dialing all this and that. And I'm like, all right, well, let's film it. Let's get the show on the road, basically. Mm-hmm. Boom, first take, and we're laughing. And because dude, you're holding, and I've got a big Mark 8 on that gun.
Oh, so you were holding? You didn't dial for that?
No, hang on. I'm holding the gun.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a Mark 8 on it. I had a can on it. It's already a 26-inch gun or something like that. It isn't a Magpul stock, and it is a proof barrel, but it's still not like super light. It's probably like 12 pounds or something, And so you can imagine the reticle is just all over the place.
Sure.
Right? And I was like, bang! And I was like, man, I don't know. And it goes, wang! And I was like, and then the video, first take, whatever. It's awesome. And we're laughing about it. Well, I go to put the rifle up, right? And I go to dial it back to 0, my 100-yard 0. Uh-huh. It was still on it. I forgot to dial the 600 dope. And I was trying to hold right on the top edge because I know with that gun I don't actually have 600-yard dope.
Right.
I've got like a 5 and a 750 because the range that we got the dope at didn't have 600. So I just dialed, usually whenever I shoot 6, I just dial for 5 and then hold like 3/4 mil or something. I can't remember exactly. So I forgot. So I was holding top of the target, and it was just drifted just right. And that gun is a 260, like I said, so it shoots flat. It's only like 3 mils. It probably had to be a half mil off of where I was holding to hit the bottom edge of the target, and that's what it did. It hit the very bottom edge.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that's how you know I wasn't faking it, because I'm telling you right now that I was 100-yard dope when I thought I was holding 600-yard dope. So.
Oh my God!
Got lucky, I guess.
No shit.
Better be lucky than good. But more to answer the question, what I take pride in is like offhand shooting at these matches where you got a plate rack at like 80 yards and you just destroy it.
You've stressed that to me quite a bit.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is like at USPSA Nationals this year, they had stages set up to where you could run all the way to one side of the bay and use a barricade and shoot a plate rack at like 75 yards, or right when the buzzer goes off, right where you're standing, you just offhand it.
At 75?
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, I mean, how much time does it take you to run 60 yards round trip, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you save like 20 seconds if you can just stand there and offhand. And it's just practice, and it's just knowing, and it goes back to rhythm, kind of like the vision and letting the gun transition. It's like you gotta get that rhythm at that rifle where you know what it's going to do when it comes back down. Because we shoot all these guns that shoot super flat, and everybody's like, that rifle doesn't move. It's got less recoil than a 22. Okay, come on. You know, look through an optic that's on 4-power. It moves, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you just got to know where it's going. And once you figure out where it's going, you can almost tune it to where, you know, I like to shoot plate racks left to right because I know that as I break that shot, it almost jumps straight to the next plate, you know?
Yeah, it's like what we were talking about with the pistol plate racks as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's tune the gun, know the gun, and just practice it. And then you can take that and extend it out. You know, you do that at 300 yards. It's just going to be harder. You know, just take more practice.
Right. Yeah, I remember the first match that I shot past like 200 yards in a match was the Three Gun Nation Southwest Regional last year in 2016. And there was, I forgot what stage it was, but it was the one you ran past the targets on.
Oh, yeah.
So that had like a target at 250, 260 yards, but it was a BC zone on a MGM Swinger. And I, you know, plot my rifle in the Three Gun barricade or Three Gun Nation barricade V there and ding, and then go down to prone and then shoot the longer range ones. But then I watched, right immediately after that, I watched like you and Rick and Keith all do that shot offhand. I was like, huh, I'll be darned.
It wasn't that far. It was, okay, yeah, there was a far shot, like 300 and something, but the target you're talking about is it was like a 125.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. It was like a BC at 125.
I thought you guys shot something that was 200 or over.
No, I don't think so, because I wouldn't do that. I would just
No?
I would brace on the barricade.
Well, you have a better memory. I don't know why I'm arguing.
I would do that just messing around for fun and probably hit it most of the time. But
not in a match.
Come to a match, I want it to be one shot, 100%, and not leave it up to I'm just not in the right spot or not feeling it, So I always make practice way harder than a match. Do that.
All right, so Donovan Paget says, "What type of weapon manipulation drills / practice do you do?" ? Hopefully, I'm not too late to ask.
It's kind of and I know a lot of people say this, but I practice what I feel like I did the worst at the last match. If I go to or I practice for whatever's upcoming. If I went to a match and like we've been talking about, I pride myself in long range shooting, and I just sucked at long range shooting, then I try to do that the next time I practice. And really, I mean, I'm talking like go out and shoot 300 rounds of long range. Check my zero, make sure I wasn't crazy, check all my holds, make sure those are good, and then just do all positional long range shooting. Shoot reverse kneeling, shoot double kneeling, shoot prone, shoot off the top of a barrel, shoot off of a barrel turned sideways. Shoot off of a railing standing, shoot off of a tree, braced with your hand against the tree, shoot off of a smaller tree, shoot off of a tree limb, shoot off of a rock. I mean, just try to think of every messed up position you've ever been dealt at a match and go practice it for a day. And then after that, do some refreshers here and there. And that goes for everything. If we were talking about plate racks, at 18 yards, if you had a match where there's a plate rack at 35 yards and you just absolutely sucked on it, then go set up a plate rack and mow it down at 7 yards and go back to 10 yards and mow it down at 10 yards and then go back to 15 yards and see how far you can push it until you need to start practicing it. And as far as weapon manipulation, I've never really done a lot of like transition drills because I'm a firm believer of the just throw it down. And that's one of the reasons I shoot a Glock. Like I've got pictures of still shots where I've let the gun go way before it's in the bucket,
right?
And you can't do that with a 2011. I mean, I guess you can do anything you want, but good luck. I've always been very deliberate in how I handle guns as far as when something comes out of the holster or goes in the holster or anything like that. It's like you take it, you turn in the 7 steps, you practice that, and then you ingrain that, and it's like breathing. You just do it. So I don't know. I just never felt like I required a lot of weapon handling stuff, and I think it's just because I like to be very precise in everything, and I think it just comes naturally, But really, it's just I practice what I feel like I need to really work on at the time, and then that all makes a big circle. By the time you work your way through everything, well, now you suck at rifle shooting again, so you start back over.
Yeah, because you're focusing too much attention on one thing.
Right. Well, I mean, you could spread it out, but that's not the way the human brain works.
No.
Like, I'm good. I'm
yeah,
good. I'm good with
exactly.
that.
I'm doing good on that.
Or shotgun loading.
On it.
Shotgun loading. Whenever you learn how to shotgun load, it's like, yeah, man, I dry fire 3 hours a night every night, and then on my lunch break, I practice loading a shotgun, and I eat a sandwich in 5 minutes before I got to go back to work, and then but then after you learn how to load and you're like good at it, you're like, well, I'm never practicing that again. And I seriously don't remember the last time I practiced loading a shotgun. And there are guys out there whipping my ass now at loading a shotgun. But at the same time, it's like I need to work on some other stuff. So I'll just brush up on that in the hotel room the night before,
Oh, yeah, this is the way it goes.
Yeah. So
awesome. Let's see. Adam Balzer. Who cuts his hair, man?
I think he's referring to that picture because my hair looks pretty awesome in that picture that you posted.
Got a hat head going.
Yeah. If we're answering that as a legitimate question, it is whatever haircut place I drive by and there's no wait.
Nice. Nice. Always go in the morning. And that's before 10 a.m.
Oh, that's
saying,
rough.
dude.
That's rough.
Scott Green asks, who is winning the Squirrel War?
I guess I am because they haven't killed me or any of my pets. They have recruited raccoons. I've caught raccoons out there. Okay, so check this out. One day I killed 4 squirrels in one day. That's kind of a lot.
That is a lot.
Usually they're only out in the morning, and we already discussed what time I like to get up. So I shot 4 all day, and then that night the feeder got completely emptied, and I was like, it's got to be raccoons. There's nothing else that could be doing it. Squirrels aren't out at night. So the next day, filled the feeders up again.
Chupacabra.
It gets dark. I open the door and turn on the light. Sure enough, there's a raccoon, like hand in the cookie jar. So I smoked him, right? And I tried to film it on the phone. It just doesn't turn out.
What, did he stay there and wait to be smoked?
Oh yeah, because he just kind of froze. He like if I don't move, he can't see me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Smoked him, and I tried to film it, but the phone wouldn't focus or whatever, so I just pulled the phone off and shot him. So I kind of gave up on filming that angle at night. I mean, I could get out the thermals and do it, I guess, but that'd be they're on big guns. And
yeah.
That'd be kind of overkill.
Yeah.
So I close.
I don't know about the backdrop there.
I go out and I pick him up and chunk him off in the woods because I don't do anything with raccoons. They're nasty, and they're only worth like $2 anymore, and you got to skin them to get $2 for raccoon.
Is there
hide.
like a recycling program
for a hide?
Oh, okay.
For fur.
Who pays for furs? Who's making these hats?
Fur dealers.
There's fur dealers?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Huh.
What do you think people do with all these hides?
I have no clue.
Yeah, you sell them to a fur dealer, and they ship them to Russia or something.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's what you did with them all.
So skinning a coon is not worth $2.
No.
That's the moral of the story. So
that's another good T-shirt.
Skinning a coon is not worth $2. Moral of the story. So I'm like, yes, got the raccoon. Next morning, wake up, feeders are empty. I'm like, how many raccoons are there? Are there as many raccoons as squirrels? So fill up the feeders. Wait till dark. I killed another squirrel that day. Wait till dark.
And these are bird feeders, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a lot of really cool birds here. We're actually in a bird sanctuary in this region.
That's right. I think you've told me that.
Got to get a permit to cut down trees. That's how serious.
Oh, you're kidding?
Nope.
Huh. There's a lot of trees around here. Must not be handing out many permits.
Yeah. So that night, fill the feeders again. That night, turn on the light or turn on my flashlight. There's a raccoon out there. Right. Smoke him. Chunk him off in the woods. Wait like 30 minutes. Turn on the light. There's another raccoon. Smoke him.
This is like a comedy show.
Yeah. So chunk him off in the woods, and
I think he's reincarnating, like Super Mario.
I don't know. He could be. No, they're different sizes. Well, he could be getting a mushroom.
Yeah. Boop, boop, boop.
Wait a little while longer, open the door, shine my light out there, don't see anything, so I kind of sweep across to the other bird feeder, and there's a fox standing there, eating out of the bird feeder. A fox.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. He was up on his back feet, and he's like, got his front paws on it, and this one's like low. It's on the log that's straight out the front door, and he's smoked the fox. Bam, right? So I have to chunk him off out in the woods. The next morning, feeders are empty. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Do you think you're going to pull in something bigger by throwing all this fresh meat out into the woods?
No, the buzzards get them.
Oh, okay.
Like the next...
and then you smoke the buzzards?
No, it's illegal.
Oh.
The buzzards get them in less than a day.
I gotcha.
So there's 2 buzzards that we have that live out there, and they're like, they probably worship me.
They love you.
They probably go like eat like all the raccoon and then take a paw or take a skull and like add it to their shrine that's got a picture that fell out of our boxes while we were moving of me or something that they've got built. It'll be, man, that could be a TV show too.
The giver of the meat.
Yeah.
It's a different show entirely.
So his feeders are empty again. So fill them up the next night. This is like 4 nights later. And finally, I figured it out because I had my wife watch out the window. Mm-hmm. And I told her, as soon as I turn the lock, turn your light on. And she said that there was a raccoon that as soon as there was 2 out there this time. As soon as I turn the lock, one of them takes off. So one of them has figured out that when you hear the click, click of the lock, he needs to get out of there.
And he doesn't tell his buddies. So you only have to be faster than the slowest raccoon.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's like when you're running from a bear.
Yep.
Just got to beat your buddy.
Wow.
So there's one raccoon
that's a buddy fucker.
There's one raccoon that's smart, and I haven't been able to get him yet. So like I've tried going out the garage door, I've tried going out the back door and sneaking around, and it's like I'm gonna have to get the thermal and get him because now he's figured out that when I turn on the flashlight, he's I'm about to kill something. So it's like I'm talking like I got the bird feeder, I've got my optic pointed right at it, and I click the light on, and he's already gone.
No kidding.
He's figured out that he knows the sound. I mean, they're smart. They're smart animals.
Oh yeah.
They can unlock anything. They're like Houdini.
Right. Man, you need to get the Beastmaster truck and park it in your driveway.
It usually
get on the stand.
It usually is, but. It wouldn't take much to actually get him. It's just I don't want to blow his guts everywhere. My wife would be like, the birds are out there like pulling slime off of them. Oh yeah, that was that raccoon. So I'll get him eventually. But we have some really cool birds here. So and all the squirrels and all the other animals really do run them off. Like, have you ever seen a painted bunting?
Mm-mm.
They're crazy looking.
We had lark buntings in Colorado.
They have a purple head,
state bird,
a blue back, green wings, a red breast, and a yellow tail.
That sounds like a tropical bird.
Yeah, painted bunting is what they're called.
Crazy.
So we've had 2 of them here that kind of come and hang out at the feeders. And when the squirrels are around, no birds come to the feeder.
Huh.
And then obviously the raccoons like eat everything. So that's why they all die. Do you want some squirrel meat?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
You know, a squirrel is a game animal.
Is it?
Yep. Got to harvest it.
Oh, that's why you had all the squirrel jerky?
I haven't tried squirrel jerky. I've never actually tried it. I just give it away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, then.
So, I don't know. Am I winning? Or who's winning? I think the raccoons are winning.
Sounds like the
raccoon.
Well,
that one raccoon.
That one raccoon. Yeah.
So, I guess me and him, maybe we tied.
Oh, dude, you guys are like the nemesis is you're like the boss at the end of the
Spy versus Spy.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
All right. And he even has the mask like Spy versus Spy.
Do you have a white hat?
Maybe. I could come up with one probably. What?
No, all right, Zach Weaver says, more travel stories, ! Nick has the best travel stories.
Man, lately we've been traveling to hunt, and it's like you wake up at 9 in the morning, pack the truck, start driving, drive for like 6 hours, hunt all night, and drive back. So I'm sure there's a really good story in there, but it's everybody's too tired to remember it. Man, Man, I don't know. Yeah, and I told you this the other day. You texted me about it, and I said I've got a lot of stories. You just have to be really specific at like, what occurred on this trip, or whatever. Trying to think of one off the top of my head, and I can't. I can't, Dave. Oh, I'll tell you one. So Kyle, who we've talked about quite a bit on the show, is usually my traveling partner. And we somehow forgot what time our flight was going. I think we were going to Virginia for a match or something. And luckily we were flying Southwest. But we get all loaded up. He comes and picks me up. We go to the airport, and we go to check in or check our bags. And the lady goes, "You're going to miss this flight." And we're like, "What are you talking about? We're like an hour and a half early." It was a 2 o'clock flight, not a 4 o'clock flight.
You've got guns too, so.
We got there at like 1:55 because we were thinking it was at 4, right? So we're like, well, okay, when's the next flight? So she tells us it's at like 5:30 or something like that. So, okay. So we we get back on the shuttle, go back to our car, drive back out of the thing, and then we're like, let's go ride go-karts. So we drive all the way across town, and the go-kart place is closed. Right? So we're like, well, what are we going to do now? I don't know. We need to eat. And so we're like, well, let's go downtown since it's on the way back across town, and we'll eat some, like, really good food. So we went to Fogo de Chao, and it's like an all-you-can-eat steak meat place.
Like Brazilian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we went there, and by the time we got over there and got sat down, we had like 15 minutes, all-you-can-eat steak. So we're both just like, every time somebody walks by, we're like, give us a big piece of that.
Choking on steak.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to pay like $60 for a meal.
Right.
Then you got to get your money's worth, whether it's 15 minutes or
and they don't let you
an
put it in
hour.
your pockets. You got to put it in your stomach.
I mean, where they're not watching. So we eat all that. And then we make it to the airport in time, whatever. We fly out to the match. Nothing really crazy happens at the match. We got a rental car. No, we were going to Oregon. That's what it was. Because I remember. So we go shoot the match, and the plan was get done with the match at like 6 p.m. Our flight was the next morning. We were going to drive to the airport, drop our car off, and I think we were just going to sleep in. Oh, no. It was like a 6-hour drive. Sorry, this is a long time ago. I'm trying to remember all the details. It was like a 6-hour drive to the airport.
Okay.
And so we figure we leave there at 6. We drop our rental car off. We get to the airport at like 1 in the morning. By the time everything's said and done, get our bags checked. And we've only got to wait like a few hours for our flight because it was a super early flight. And we get there and the rental car place is closed.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Close at midnight.
The rental car place opens at the same time that we're supposed to be boarding our plane. So we're like, what are we going to do? We can't like just leave the car because they didn't have a key drop-off thing or anything.
And you can't just lock the keys in the car
because
there are no keys.
No, the gate was closed too.
Oh,
so we couldn't just like pull in their parking lot either. Yeah, so, and we were in some little piece of crap like Hyundai Accent or something because we always rent the smallest car possible because it's, for one, it's funny.
It's cheap.
And two, it's the cheapest.
Tell me you jumped the fence.
No. So we ended up sleeping in this parking lot of like an industrial area of Portland, Oregon. And it was pretty much like we slept in shifts because there's people walking by all the time. And like kind of like you could tell they wanted to come look in the car.
Yeah,
but then they would see that there's somebody in it. And I don't have a concealed carry license because I was a cop for so long that I carried a gun. Because state law would allow me to, and whenever I left that, I just never have made time to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, and I carry it. But luckily in Texas, we can carry a lot of guns without it. But we were in Oregon, and
there's no reciprocity for nothing.
I don't know. Is there in Oregon?
Well, not if you don't have a concealed carry permit.
Well, yeah, duh. And I can't remember what it was. We looked up something about handguns, and it was kind of sketchy, even if you had a license, whether you could or not, or something. Well, I don't remember.
And here's a weird thing that maybe you can tell me this, and maybe this isn't interesting to the audience. We should talk about it later. But in Colorado, a firearm inside your vehicle is your domain, just like your home.
That's the way Texas is.
Okay, so I can have a loaded pistol and
it just has to be concealed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have a concealed carry permit?
If you're in your vehicle and you have a handgun, the handgun has to be concealed.
Okay.
Now, if you don't have a concealed handgun license and it's on your person, it better be off your person by the time you get out of the car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so anyway. So we like crack open our gun cases and like load one magazine, and we've got guns stuffed everywhere, like that we think it would potentially be accessible. And I didn't sleep hardly at all. And we were almost at gas too. Like so much to the point where we probably couldn't make it to a gas station, so we couldn't run the car. And it was like 80 degrees. It was like a heat wave in Oregon. We don't want to roll the windows down because somebody's going to like sneak up on us and drag us out of the window or something, So, I mean, it was just a nightmare. And so I think the rental car place opened at like 4 and our flight left at 4:30. And so it was pretty much we're sitting there at the gate, like hadn't slept in 20-something hours, like, open the gate.
You got guns.
Open the gate. It's like tapping on it's like the crazy cat tapping on the glass to get in,
Open.
So they opened the gate, and it was pretty much we just, like, handed them the keys and left, got on the where's the shuttle? Okay, well, now we got to get a shuttle. And we got on the shuttle, and we paid the driver to not pick anybody else up.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, because we're going to miss our flight, right? And then
Can you imagine just being like,
so the next flight is like, so it's not a problem whenever you fly Southwest or the way the tickets that we had when on the way there, we could just take the next flight and there was no charge extra or whatever, as long as there's room. Well, I remember in that parking lot, we're surfing the web while we had battery life because we killed our cell phone batteries too because we had nothing else to do, and can't run the car. So we look at all the flights. Well, all the flights are booked after that. So it's like either we're getting on this plane or we're staying another day in Portland, Oregon, which is about as bad as Austin. It's just like a bunch of hippies. So we pay the driver to just go, and we got in there and they took our bags and we got on the plane and got home. But man, that was a rough trip.
That's awesome. The fact that you paid the driver not to pick you up.
And it didn't take much either. Because it was like we got on the bus and we were like, listen, we're going to miss our flight and there's no other flights today. We got to go. What would it take to just go straight to the airport? And he was like, what do you got? And it was like, $20? And he was like, Yep. It was pretty sweet. So
that's awesome. That's a good one.
I almost completely forgot about sleeping in that parking lot. Man, tried to block it out.
Yeah, no kidding. Repressed memories.
Yep.
All right. We got another one from Michael Youngblood Fitzhugh. Can I get an enhanced Beastmaster?
An enhanced Beastmaster? What is he talking about?
I don't know. Maybe. I thought that was some sort of inside joke.
I don't know. He works for Kyle, so it's probably some kind of inside joke that he thinks is a joke. I don't know. Yes.
It'll cost you. How much you got? And that wraps it up for our questions.
Awesome.
Our Q&A.
Good times.
Nick, I got one for you, though. Have you, you don't dry fire now. Have you ever dry fired other than loading shotgun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I dry fire pistol a lot. And I still do sometimes.
We do?
Yeah. It's it's just not one of those things that I've got it on the schedule to go do it. Mm-hmm. I dry fire a lot whenever I get out to the range, actually. Like, just spend 15 minutes dry firing.
Yeah.
Just to warm up a little bit. Hotel rooms see a lot of dry firing because there's nothing else to do. And what I like to do is watch a TV show, and whichever character I like the least it gets shot every time that that person comes up on screen.
Right.
So a lot of times whenever there's quick transitions, you're like you're like chasing them across and you always pick a spot, like you got to shoot them in the eye or something like that, So it makes it pretty entertaining.
Nice. Helps with target transitions and stuff like that.
There you go. Or moving targets.
Nice.
Hunting.
Hunting. The ultimate prey.
Predator.
Most dangerous. Predator. Most dangerous
game.
Man. We get into that one in the other episode, so if that didn't make any sense or sounds creepy, you might want to listen to that one. Well, Nick, dude, always a pleasure. Thanks to everyone that submitted questions. If you like this style of format, comment and let us know.
Yeah. Don't ask any more questions because we're done.
That's right. BeastmasterHunting.com.
BeastmasterHunting.com. Beastmaster Hunting on Facebook. Beastmaster Hunting on Instagram. We're everywhere. YouTube.
That's where the funniness is.
Nick Atkinson. Watch the episodes. Share them. Laugh at them. Tell us. And that's another thing, too, is tell me what you want to see on the episodes.
Yeah.
So I can do it.
Well, and that's how Beastmaster Hunting came about, right? Is someone said, hey, I want to see more of hunting with thermals. Okay.
Yeah, but we were already doing that. I mean, tell me if you want to see something different. Tell me if you want to see a particular animal or a particular place or something like that.
The most dangerous game. Probably not that.
Are you volunteering?
No.
You run around with ice packs on to cool yourself off.
Yeah, like Predator, I'd cover myself in mud.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Dude, it does. I saw it in the movie.
Well, that Predator didn't have a very good thermal then.
No, it's alien technology. All right, Nick, thanks for playing along, man. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes again at 3gunshow.com/episode 158 for links to stuff that Nick and I talked about in the podcast, including the link to the Q&A. I guess just the Qs that were on 3Gun Talk Facebook group. Also, you can join the 3Gun Talk Facebook group again if you're a good person, and you can play nice with people because that's the kind of people we want in this sport. So, pretty cool announcement here. The Born to 3Gun t-shirt that Zach Weaver designed a long time ago, like back in October of 2015, is coming back. And we're going to do a limited run of X amount of shirts. I don't know what that X is yet, but we're kind of trying to gauge excitement. And right now I have 2 polls open, and those are for what color shirt do you want? So I basically narrowed down the men's shirts with the Patreon group and the lady shirts with a select group of lady 3-gunners. And I asked, like, hey, what colors would you like to see? And so we picked 3 colors for each, and now there's voting. And those links to voting, again, 3gunshow.com/episode 158. Jump on it quick because they're not going to be around there too long if you listen to these in the future. But Born to 3Gun shirts are coming back, and be the first to know about it by getting on the email list, again, at 3gunshow.com. So, as always, this show is also brought to you by Armalite, and Armalite has given the 3Gun Show listeners an opportunity to grab special pricing on Armalite's line of 3-gun rifles and their accessories, so like muzzle brakes, gas blocks, hand guards, and full rifles, and upper receivers as well. And I've been shooting an Armalite rifle for the 2017 season, and it is delightful. I love it. So if you are in the market for a rifle or components to build your own, just email me, dave@3gunshow.com, and I'll hook you up with a good price on it. Last but not least, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcast content, and leave a review. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.